So I am doing the Saturn in Pisces reading. We're talking about Saturn in Pisces. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it's been coming up on my page for a while now, and I want to learn more about Merlin, and so I'm trying to tap in and give more and honor more of the part of me that loves astrology and really appreciates astrology and just loves the stars and the cosmos. So I'm just gonna say a song that's been in my head for like the past 5 seconds, literally, or maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, that just came up. So safe. Hello to falsetto in 3, 2, sway. I'd like to be everything you want. Hey girl, let me talk to you. If I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go. I'd keep you in my arms, girl. You'd never be alone. And I could be a gentleman, anything you want. If I was your girlfriend, if I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go. That's all it was in my head, and it might be connected to Pisces, to Saturn and Pisces, Pisces and Saturn. Either way, the point being though, that it's very interesting because Pisces and Saturn are both the climax, right? They're both the final point, not the climax. They're the final point. They're the end. They're ancient. Pisces is the ancient energy of the zodiac. They are the ones that are super, super deeply into the cosmos, super, super in the subconscious. And Pisces and Saturn is that planet, that planet that makes you work hard for what you have. But spirituality is about hard work. It's just about hard work in a way that is a lot more elusive. And it's work. Saturn is a long, drawn out process. Spirituality is a long, drawn out process that takes lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes, to be able to get to a place where it can even sit comfortably in your body, because to contain spirituality is a whole other experience altogether, and it takes a lot of grounding energy. And Saturn is the planet that teaches you how to ground what feels impossible, what feels like an incredibly challenging process, into the physical and make it a reality. But it takes hard work, and it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes effort. And it's so timely that Pisces is going into Saturn during this period in our lives, because it's really just a matter of the opportunity being brought to you, and then you being like, okay, I see what it is that you want me to do. I'll do it. I'll do the work. I'll try. And then being able to go about the process and put in the work and learn. And where are we right now as a collective? Everybody is awake at this point. I really can't imagine how you're not. You might think that you know somebody that's not awake, but they are. They're just taking their time with showing it. Or their process is different from yours and it's not easily recognizable, but everyone's awake at this point. So now the process is grounding that aliveness, grounding that awareness of the great beyond, of the expanse, of the subconscious, into our earthly reality, into our 3D reality, and making it standard. That's going to take a long time, but that's why we're in the energy of Saturn right now. It's like Capricorn. You're ready to do the work? Okay, let's do the work. You guys want to be an awakened society? You want to start to understand your gifts and be able to use that in your life? You don't want to work hard anymore. You want to just tap into spirit and your ancestors. You want to know how to flow. Okay, well, that takes work, but you want to do this as a collective? Okay, cool. Let's dive in. Let's start the work. It's here now. The work is here now, which is very exciting, because these next few years are going to be very prosperous. These next few years are going to be very important. And when these 3 years, I think, are done, the shift that is going to occur is going to be super, super interesting, because we'll be going into Aries energy. I think so. But it will be the end of a cycle when these 3 years are over, which will be 2026. which will be, yeah. And 2026 equals what? The number 1. So a new beginning. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So it's going to be an exciting time for these next 3 years. It's going to be hard work. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be very fulfilling and very enriching. And the growth that you will see will be like you'll watch it start to show up in like months at a time, right? Like 6 months from now, then you look back and you're like, whoa. Another 6 months from then, you're like, whoa. You see the progress in phases, in gaps. It's not something that you're seeing overnight. But the work that you witness happening to you, happening to your spirit, happening to your body is something that lasts for this entire lifetime, if you're willing to do the work and if you're willing to answer the call. The thing is about Saturn being in Pisces is that it is alignment. It is the spiritual. It is flowy. It's elusive. So it's not like somebody coming up to you and being like, well, actually, you know what? It's exactly how this is. Like me doing this reading right now, or this reading, it's because I do readings, but me talking about Saturn and Pisces right now. I've received messages around the fact that astrology is significant to my lifetime, that it's significant to my work. I've thought about doing astrological readings and things like that. I dibble and dabble. I really only talk about the moon and, new moons, full moons, that kind of thing with astrology. But I don't do sign readings yet. Maybe I will start doing that after this. And I don't usually talk about these types of transits. I did end up speaking about this Saturn retrograde, I think I spoke about. But yeah, I'm not usually into this. I haven't explored this yet. But I felt the promptings from Spirit. And then seeing all of this Saturn and Pisces on my timeline, videos about it. And then Merlin showed up in a hypnotism session that I did. And then I had a dream about astrology. And so now I've received the promptings and I'm just doing it. That's what the introduction to the work for Spirit, Saturn and Pisces is like. You're not going to apply for a job and you're not really seeking it out. It comes to you, however it comes to you. But you have to be in tune enough to recognize when a pattern has shown up in your life that wasn't there before. Something new is here. Something is prompting you. Something is calling you towards it. Something is trying to get your attention. Go give your energy towards that and see what ends up happening. See what shows up in that process. Yeah, but there's this energy of the work for Saturn in Pisces is about following the promptings and grounding them. I see all of this stuff about astrology. I get an idea perhaps about what kind of video I can start off with. I do it instead of just sitting there and waiting or sitting there and even asking for confirmation, because with Saturn, it's the work you're doing yourself. This is about you doing the work. This is not about you asking your ancestors and your spirit guides and everybody else to come in and help you. You do the work. You saw the message. You follow up on it. You go and create whatever you need to create. You go and take that job. You go and build this thing. You know what I mean? It's about taking personal responsibility and accountability for your relationship with spirituality now, because everybody wanted everybody to wake up. And everybody wanted everybody to understand these concepts and self-care and self-actualization and all this shit. Everybody wants everybody to manifest, okay? So now here we are. Everybody's doing it now. Good. We're in a better place because of it. The world is already changing massively. I mean, the idea of the matrix and manifestation, all these things, concepts that are not even like, it's not even like a concept anymore. It's regular conversation. Like the things that people talk about in regular conversation are vastly different from like 2012. Incredibly different. As a whole, the younger generations talking about shit that we were not talking about at our age. Maybe some of you were, but that just wasn't what we were talking about. But these days, the chakras, making sure you're in balance, the frequencies, the vibrations, like all of these things, it's common knowledge. It's mainstream. There's nothing special about you being able to talk about these things. I mean, not to say there's nothing special about you being able to talk about these things, but it's not secret, It's not underground. Everything, spirituality is very mainstream. Very, very mainstream right now. And I know that there are people who are like uppity about that, and I get it. But I think it's a good thing, because ultimately spirituality is not something to like try and own for yourself. It's just a way of being. Spirituality is, it is, we are all spiritual. Everything you do is spiritual. It's a spiritual expression. So the fact that we are moving into a world where we're more comfortable having that just be a part of our daily dialogue is great. And then as we go along and do Saturn and Pisces, people will start to do the inner work to understand what spirituality means to them. And then we'll start getting unique expressions of spirituality. Then we'll start getting unique faiths and practices, and people will start to find their own journey. People start to enter into their own cultures and see what spiritual practices their cultures do. A lot of ancestral healing, and that's so funny because today I put out into the world an offering to do free ancestral healing readings to introduce you to your ancestry and what your specific cultural practices are, rather than leaning on the cultural practices and spiritual practices of communities and cultures that have been able to keep such a rich documentation of their own spirituality to the point where we all rely on them and we all feed off of them. Because that's amazing, and it's great that we're able to share faiths, but you have specific practices that your ancestors have done from time. Your cultures all have unique expressions, and I know so many of us are disconnected, but Saturn and Pisces is also about digging down deep into the ancient, into your subconscious, into your roots, and understanding them, getting a firm grip on them, getting a firm hold on them, and beginning to understand who you are, why you are, and what your people do. What do you do? What means something to you? You know, this language might not mean anything to you. I was practicing and I was doing a reading for myself, and in the reading I was talking about like the language about vibrations and like the self and all of these things. It doesn't really mean anything to me because that's not the spiritual language that my people speak in. My people speak the spiritual language of dancing, of singing, of freestyling, of creativity, of dressing to adorn your body, of headgear, of, head wraps and things. That's our spiritual language. Other people's spiritual language is more audible and about theories and concepts. Other people's spiritual language is about the stars. Other people's spiritual language is about food. Part of my spiritual language is about earth and sitting with trees and rolling hills. You know what I mean? So the deeper we get into Saturn and Pisces, the more people are going to be able to understand exactly what their specific spiritual tongue is, rather than feeling like you need to be and doing yoga and sound healing and all of these things that maybe they do resonate with you, but maybe they don't. And what Saturn and Pisces is also going to do is help you understand what resonates and what you're just doing because it's what you have right now. We're getting out of the lack mindset. That's what the lack mindset is believing that this is the only spiritual way for you. And so you just do it because you don't feel like there's a possibility to have more for yourself or to have something that resonates deeper, pretending that something resonates. That's a lack mindset. Getting out of that, even like the concept of a lack mindset or a scarcity mindset, that's not really language that resonates with me, but it's the language that I have right now. But as we get deeper into Saturn and Pisces and we dig into the subconscious, we dig into source, we begin to expand our own consciousness and eventually move out of even needing to use words like consciousness and move into something more interesting, more complex, more with more space, and ultimately simpler. But yeah, you start to find what really actually resonates, and it's okay. It becomes okay for you to be like, this isn't resonating. This isn't what I want to do. Maybe I don't want to just sit down inside, quiet, and meditate. Maybe an all-white space isn't relaxing to me. Perhaps I don't just resonate with love and light. Perhaps I need something that's a little bit more authentic to me. And for the people who do really, truly resonate with that, that's beautiful for you. And you find an even more deepening and exciting path awaiting for you as you flow more into that. But for others, you figure out what it is that you actually believe in. What do you really believe in? Because right now we have these spiritual concepts and we have these dominating ways of understanding spirituality and ourselves and the universe and all these things. And it's from specific cultures. You know, we're very heavily influenced by India, heavily right now in the spiritual community. We're very heavily influenced by Mayan cultures, by the Inca, by Egypt, by Greece. We're very heavily influenced by certain West African cultures, and things like that. And a lot of Chinese culture, traditions. I'm just trying to think of places, but it's all pretty shallow. And it's pretty shallow because most of us aren't, most of us, as we're picking and choosing, like it's a smorgasbord, but your spirituality is something that it comes from within. You shouldn't need to rely on all of these outside sources to help you understand what you believe and what you think. You really shouldn't have to ask anyone else but yourself. You shouldn't have to have a teacher if you don't need one. I mean, if you don't want one, you know, like getting a mentor, it's because you want one. And then ultimately, if you want it, you need it. But your spirituality is something that it's self-defined, and it really doesn't require anyone else to validate it. And that's part of what we're doing when we're moving into Saturn and Pisces. We're getting into this energy of confidence in our own understanding of what spirituality means to us, what we think, what we believe, and independence and autonomy in our beliefs. Not relying on all these other things, not feeling like somebody needs to teach us how to be spiritual, not feeling we need to use certain language or resonate with certain concepts. If it doesn't connect with you, it doesn't connect with you. You don't need to force it. Doesn't mean you're not spiritual. Doesn't mean you're not awakened. Like even the word awakened might not resonate, you know? Resonate might not resonate. It's just we're gonna get comfortable using what actually feels good in our body, on our tongues. And part of that is releasing shame around around how you express yourself and how you exist in these spaces, and recognizing that it's not really a space to exist in without at all. It simply is. You're here, you're a part of spirituality, you're a spiritual person, you have your own spiritual knowledge simply because you are. And that's all there is to it. Everything beyond that is something else. Everything beyond that is a construct. And the more we get into Saturn and Pisces, the more those constructs fall away. Because by the end of Saturn and Pisces, we're going to be in a completely new beginning. We'll be at the number 1 with the 2026, and we'll be done with Piscean energy, which is the end of the zodiac. So we'll be moving on. I'd like to be everything you want. Hey girl, let me talk to you. Like a lot of proposal, like a lot of pursuing energy, and showing you exactly what life would be like if you let this into your energy. It's like with Pisces, it's very seductive. I'm thinking of like Aphrodite right now. It's a seductive energy, and it's an enticing energy, and it's like, if you allowed me into your life, if you allowed me to show you exactly who you are, if you allowed me to become part of your world, part of your energy, if you allowed us to collaborate, I'm gonna show you just how rich and just how abundant and just how incredible your life becomes, because you are allowing spirituality, whatever that means to you, into your life. And it will come in whatever form it's supposed to come. For me, one of the ways it's showing up is ancestral healing and astrology. That's part of the ways that spirituality is coming in, and it's being like, hey, same with like with the food that I eat, and being more active and having a routine, and being out in nature. Those are ways that spirituality is showing up and being like, look at what happens to your life if you let me in, let me show you what will happen to your life. You know, for you, it might come up in a completely different way. For you, it might show up in this new path of education. Maybe you start going to university, maybe you pick a different career path. Maybe you start really being interested in math. Maybe you start to learn about water and you want to do water conservation. Like, if there's no specific way it needs to show up, you know, there's no way to recognize it beyond how it feels to you. It's super individual. And the great thing about this time period that we're heading into is that exploitation is going to be at a minimum, I think, because nobody else can help you. Honestly, like, I think exploitation isn't really gonna be, it's not gonna be as heavy. Like right now, if you go on like anything, even like remotely having to do with wellness, there's always a troll. There's always a bot being on there saying, I can give you a reading, or let me show you this, click this link, you know? And I'm always shocked that people fall for it, but I guess I understand that we don't all have the same like internet literacy. We don't all understand what it would look like to present yourself on the internet versus what it looks like for a bot or a scammer to. But I think that our education in that is going to grow. We're going to become more intelligent when it comes to sensing scams and bots with the Saturn and Pisces, because they're both serious energies. Pisces is very serious, spiritually, elusively serious, and Saturn is very grounded, very stable, very logical. So I think you're going to be able to read through spirits very quickly, which is good. It's very good. It's very empowering. I think the boundaries are going to be really sharp because Saturn understands that right now it's time for spiritual development. So I don't have time to be fucked with, basically is what Saturn is saying. But the great thing also about it is that all of the spiritual teachers that aren't really teachers and that are really just exploiting people right now because they understand that money is to be made in this sector and understand that people are in deep need of healing and therefore are willing to pay what they're willing to pay. All of those assholes, I don't think they're going to be as much of a problem, because in this upcoming time period, you have to help yourself. Like, and that's always been a thing, but it's just going to become more prominent. And that's not to say that spiritual teachers are going to become non-existent. I think that it's just that we're going to be taking on a different energy, because I'm considered myself a teacher within this space and somebody who likes to offer healing. But it's about moving people into position of power. And I think what spiritual teachers are going to be doing is helping create community. Because this is such a solo journey in terms of like your spirituality, it's really only you can help yourself. Only you can get yourself where you need to go. And when I say you, I also mean your ancestors, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, but it's you. I'm not coming in and guiding you the whole way through. I can't. There's no possible way I could, and I shouldn't. It's about you, and that would take away from your experience. But right now, what was I saying? Right now, yeah, as Pisces enters into Saturn and we go through this transit, we're going to find that I think there's going to be less people being fooled, and all of the fake and the phony teachers, because they shouldn't even be able to use that name. Teacher is a sacred job, but all of those fakes and those phonies are going to slowly disintegrate, because for one, they're going to enter their own healing, because Saturn is going to fuck everybody up. Everybody's going to have to get very serious about what means something to them, what feels good, what feels impactful, what are they doing to serve, how are they contributing, what are they pulling in from the subconscious realm, what energy are you responsible for. So those teachers are all going to fade away, I think. And the people who are going to last as teachers and guides and mentors are going to be really important for creating community and empowering people to feel confident in their journeys and to express themselves and share. And it's about creating spaces and making sure that as people are deepening into their journeys, because Saturn is such an isolating energy as well, it can feel like, making sure that people aren't in it all alone. You know, like, yes, this is a journey that you're doing on your own, but come do it on your own with us together. You know, teachers will help kind of rally in the kids and make sure that they're having their own experiences, but doing it in a way where they are they still can have community when they need it. It's actually like what spiritual teachers will be doing is at this point helping people become grounded again into life beyond the mystical, life beyond the elusive. Like, yes, we love mystical, we love the elusive energy, we love working in the subconscious, we love deep diving within ourselves and focusing on healing and shadow work and all this stuff. But you're still a human being, you're still alive. Be in the present moment. Come here and do this with us. Come here and engage in this way with us and see how to truly ground your spirituality, all the stuff up there, into reality. Make it a daily act. Make your life a moving prayer. Walk into this experience, make it your life, and make it your life in a way that doesn't feel like work. The work becomes Piscean. It becomes a natural flow. It becomes easy. It becomes simple. It becomes one with the existence of the subconscious. So I think it's about elevating that experience and teaching people how to come back. You go in and then it's like, okay, but now let's learn how to walk in and out. Let's learn how to put up boundaries with our own spiritual healing and make sure that we are able to balance everything out. And let's learn how to take a break from feeling like I need to manifest and all these moon rituals, and just learn how to balance it out, I think. I almost have a desire not to pull oracle, and for one reason is because I'm challenging myself, because I'm like, try and do this whole thing just speaking and see how you flow. Oh my God. And that's part of that Saturn energy, is it's not going to allow you to keep on with the things that made you feel safe and made you feel comfortable before we got into this Piscean energy, especially around your beliefs about yourself and about spirituality. But spirituality, it's you. So the beliefs about yourself are really coming up to the surface. The beliefs about your own worthiness, self-love, all that shit, it's gonna be maximized during this time. That's why it's really nice that it's Saturn, because this is that tough love energy. And it's a tough love energy that actually might enter in quite softly, because it's like the thing that we are trying to strengthen within you, the thing that we want you to become empowered and emboldened by, is the fact that you are so deserving of love, the fact that you are so deserving of grace, the fact that you are so deserving of peace and of understanding. So it's actually going to be such a beautiful experience having Saturn in Pisces, if you allow it, though, because remember, at the end of the day, we are affected by, we're affected by the cosmos, we're affected by each other's energy, and all of that. But one thing more with Saturn in Pisces is that your autonomy is becoming even more strong. You're becoming more, you have boundaries, even more so now that Saturn and Pisces are linking up. So your free will and your ability to decide whether you allow this work to be done, whether you allow yourself to enter into this engagement, is also, it's your choice. You choose whether this happens. This is not something that happens to you. You see the promptings, do you go for it or not? Like that song, If I Was Your Boyfriend, he's not saying I am your boyfriend. He's not even saying date me. He's just saying if. Here's a possibility. If. Are you interested? Are you gonna take this? It's not take this. It's not I am this. It's if. It's all about the potential. With Pisces, it's darkness, it's the subconscious. So there is no hard facts. It's all a possibility. What are you going to grab and ground? Are you going to grab onto stubbornness and ground that into your reality? Are you going to grab onto openness? Are you going to grab onto love? Are you going to grab onto to your truth, to the truth, finding clarity? Or are you going to grab onto this unreal world that doesn't even serve you, but because you don't love yourself, I'm grounding this in reality? Because like I said, the deeper that Saturn goes into Pisces, the more you begin to understand the spiritual boundaries that you naturally have, and the fact that you are an autonomous being, that you do have free will, you are not at the hands of fate. Certain things do happen that are fated, but like I said, the more that we ascend, the more that we expand, awaken, whatever word you want to choose, the more that you The deeper we all get into alignment and become a collective, the more you also rise in your autonomy, because you begin to understand that you really are, you're the God, you're the goddess that you're praying to. It's your energy too. You are spirit, and you become very independent, and everything is a choice. And choice is a beautiful thing, but it's a hard thing because it puts the responsibility on your back. There's nobody else to blame. That's also what it is with Saturn and Pisces. There's no one else to blame. It's your responsibility and it's your decision. You choose what you do. You make the decision and you be responsible for it. This is that shadow work time where, yes, we've all been victims. Yes, we've all been attacked by these systems and all of that. But the people are in power. The people are in power like never before. And I know that it's hard to put it to really believe it and really ground it in reality. And I don't even know how we completely ground this in reality, but we are not helpless. Like, there were states of aliveness for human beings on this planet, even in the recent past, for like our grandparents, where you were kind of helpless. Like, you weren't helpless, but you kind of were. Like, these systems were intense. But because of how awake everybody is right now, you're not helpless. This is not the type of situation on Earth right now where you have no choice and it's just hands up and like, I don't know what to do. We're not in that energy anymore. And I know it's kind of scary to acknowledge that, because then that means, oh, I actually have to do something. But yeah. So part of this is also about, this is where spiritual teachers come in. If you feel like you have a job in trying to create community within the collective spiritually, and find a way to fight back and really begin to take over these systems, take over or destroy the systems, whichever one whatever your MO is. This is that job. It's hard though, but this is like grassroots revolution work. This is revolutionary work. It's beginning to understand how to bring people together and get us all on the same page, at least about being free, to the point where we stop engaging with these systems altogether. Mentally, a lot of us have checked out. Now, with Pisces, spiritually, a lot of us are checking out. Saturn is going to come in and be like, okay, now check out physically. Stop paying your rent. Stop paying your rent. Don't pay for water. I don't know. I'm coming up with crazy examples, but like, that's kind of the point. We're checking out physically. You've checked out mentally. You're barely here, disassociating all the time. You're checking out spiritually now, right? You're digging into yourself. You're digging into other systems. You're finding a way out. People are checking out physically. People are moving. People are literally leaving the places that they've been their whole lives and going somewhere completely different. People are doing remote work and no longer working in offices. People are beginning to check out physically. But it's, okay, also with Pisces. So now check out systemically. It's time for you to get out of the system. Are you ready for that? I wonder what Mars is going to be in during this time, because I just wonder what Mars will be in. I mean, Mars will continue to move, but I wonder what Mars is in now, and what Mars will be in. Let me try and Google that. But yeah, the next step is check out of the system, which in a physically grounded way, right? Because we're talking about Taurus. Check out of the system. Stop engaging. You don't like the way that classism works and all that? Don't engage with it anymore. How, you ask? I don't know. This is like team effort. We're working on this together, but this is where we're at. There is no more pretending like we don't have power. We have power, and everybody knows it. Everybody's scared because of it. You're either scared of your own power, or these governments and these systems are scared, terrified, shaking in their boots. What's that one Nicki Minaj thing? I got them. That's the energy. They're terrified. And once you stop being scared, it gets scarier for them. Like, it gets scary. And I'm like, I just can't even imagine what they feel, because all of us are here and we're in our heads and we're like, I'm not worthy, I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. But once you get out of that, are you kidding? What is Mars in right now? What is Mars in astrology? What is Mars in? No, not what is it. What sign is Mars in? No, I know that it's the ruler of Aries. Could you imagine? What sign is Mars? What sign is Mars in right now? Aries and Scorpio. Oh, it is in Aries. No, it couldn't be, because they just said the sun is in Leo, and that's not true at all. Mars right now. Oh shit. Mars is in Aquarius. No, that's Mercury. Sorry. Mars is in Gemini and it enters Cancer. Oh. Mars enters Cancer on 2023, March 23rd. Okay, cool. I wonder if we could see where Mars will be for the next, like, I would like to see where Mars is going to be for the next while. Because I'm thinking about revolution energy. We've got Saturn and we have Mars. And I'm just thinking about what a powerful combination that is. But Mars is going into Cancer at the end of March. So that's something to look forward to. But right now, Mars is in Gemini, which is, we're in the thinking. We're thinking about our plan. We're trying to communicate. We're trying to understand. We're trying to socialize and see where everybody's kind of at on this revolution. What are people really interested in? You know, what tools do you have? What's going on with you? We're getting the gossip. We're getting the information together. Cancer is going to come in and be like, okay, now how's everybody feeling? I heard what you're thinking. I hear what you're saying. What are you feeling? How do you feel? Like deep down. And then we're going to go into Leo, and then Mars is going to be like, okay, now what are you willing to do about it? What are you willing to do about it? How are you willing to show up? And then we're going to go into Virgo, and then Mars is going to be like, okay, well, I've heard what you think and what you're saying. I heard what you're saying. I heard what you're feeling. I heard what you're going to do about it. Now let's make a plan. Let's make a plan. And that's Virgo. And then we go into Libra. And then Mars is like, okay, well, hold on a minute. Let's consider everything first. We're making a plan, but let's consider everything in this plan. Let's make sure that we're dotting our T's and dotting our I's, kind of like Virgo too, but just making sure that, let's make a plan of the other side as well. Let's plan out what we think the other side would do. Let's just think about it. And then Scorpio's like, oh, well, let's plan out what the other side is going to do spiritually as well. And let's call in a little bit of our own darkness, but healthy darkness, to bring into balance our power. You know, we're not just working from light. We're working from darkness. We're working from the gray. And then Sagittarius is like, I love this. Now, let me tell you guys all of this that I know, and let me teach you a little something, because there's also this way of doing this. And did you know about this, and that from history? And they did it this way. And then Capricorn is like, oh, okay, heard you. Let's go. Let's start building upon this plan. Let's ground it into reality. And then we start taking action in Capricorn season. And then Aquarius is like, oh shit. Oh, and then Aquarius is like, oh my God, I know that we've taken all this action, we've made all these plans, but like, let's imagine that there's nothing to do at all. No, I'm joking. But am I? It's like all this work, but there's no work to be done, because if you just trust in spirit, then you'll understand that it will all be done through you. Maybe, but why did I do all that? Because that's what we're going to be dealing with Mars and everything. But Saturn in Pisces. Yeah, it's exciting times. It really is. Hold on 1 second. Oh my God, you know what, this is funny, because I did a reading a couple of days ago where I was talking about around March 9th, around like the waning gibbous moon in Pisces season, there was going to be a huge union between Earth and this other star system. And I didn't come up with this. I got this from, I first heard about this a few weeks ago from C-Star Myra Ross, who was doing a speech, a teaching, a lesson on Professor Melanie, the Spirit Duelist channel. Watch both of them if you want. And that's where I first heard about this concept. And I was doing a reading a couple of days ago, and I was like, what's this energy? Union. And then I put it together that these two were connected. And now I'm seeing that that Saturn enters Pisces on March 7th, Tuesday, which is right around that same time. So I feel like the introduction of Saturn into Pisces is also talking about the introduction of this union. And it's like about also using what you have. Mars is resourceful, and Pisces is abundant in resources of the unconscious, of the subconscious. So it's this energy of also trusting that you have everything you need within you to start right now. You have everything you need within you to start right now. Like I said with Capricorn, Capricorn's the sign that's like, okay, I've heard all this planning, I've heard all this digging into blah, blah, blah. Let's start. Let's do it now. And that's exactly what Saturn is coming in and saying. And the craziest thing about it is you may think that you've already started your spiritual journey. And you very well might have. But you also could have just very well been going with the flow of the cosmos. And so is your spirit and your body. But who knows if you really even could you imagine? That's why if I was a system that was oppressive, or if I was one of these leaders that were oppressive, I'd be gagged right now. Because yeah, we're all awake, but are we even? Maybe this isn't even, maybe we haven't even really woken up yet. Who knows just how deep our powers go? Pisces season is about to show us that there's a whole lot that we do not understand. And it's so exciting. There's so much potential. It's so exciting, and it's so scary for these systems. I'm happy. I'm so happy because we're just going to be moving into a place of such empowerment. And you're about to really discover who the hell you are, for good and for bad, for better or for worse. And it's okay. Every single part of you was exactly what you needed in this lifetime. Every single thing you have, all of the scary stuff, all of the good stuff, it's all important. And you have something very significant to contribute to this timeline and to these conversations just as much as anyone else. Doesn't matter if you feel like an old soul or not. Doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 10 years or not. Doesn't matter if you know all of the terms and all of the concepts and how to do this and how to do that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if somebody's taught you how to do tarot. Doesn't matter if somebody gifted you a tarot deck or you went and bought it from Barnes & Nobles. It doesn't matter. As long as you feel the calling, as long as it feels good to you, that's all that matters. And what feels good to you versus what makes you feel good about yourself and the existence of others' perspectives and other people's spaces, they're different, Because something can feel good to you because it feeds your ego, or something can feel good to you because it makes you feel like other people think that you're good or other people think that you're cool. But what just feels good to you if you were sitting in the dark and there was nothing else around? Like let's say you were dead, right? What would feel good to you if it didn't matter what anybody else thought because there was nobody else around? What would feel good to you? If you were just in the darkness, you were stuck in a black hole, and you somehow still had an ability to think about what felt good for you, and you were able to get that because you're in a black hole, so infinite possibilities. What would you do, Oh God. And there's no right answer. The answer could literally be nothing. And that's a perfect answer. That's the truth. And you know how many of us relate to that? So many of us. So say that. If literally all of this, if you don't connect to light at all, say that. If you don't find any of that exciting, say that. If you don't like tarot and or I mean, you don't need to say all these things that you don't like, but follow that, you know? Follow what you actually like. Don't pretend. If you're not connecting, don't pretend to. It was actually really great. This morning, this girl was talking about how she did had an ayahuasca experience. She didn't feel anything. She didn't feel anything. And she didn't try and fake it. She just didn't feel it. And she was saying that she probably just didn't connect with the way that they were doing it. And that's real. That's very, very real. You know, not everybody's energy is for you. It doesn't matter if they're the best shaman in the world, and that's what they tell you. It doesn't matter. And that's also why with Saturn and Pisces, we're also entering into this time, like I said, about you digging into what your ancestors did in this lifetime. I'm not talking about when you were from Atlantis. And like, I appreciate all that. I really, really do. I honestly really, really do. And your ancestry in this lifetime might extend back to Atlantis. Because like the Atlanteans and Lemurians, they were from like a different age, but they're from Earth. That was on Earth. So you might actually, for real, have ancestors in this lifetime from this ancestral lineage that connect back to Atlantis, that connect back to Lemuria, that connect back to Avalon. Probably not all of those places at once, maybe, but I don't think all of them at once, but you very well may. And so in that case, connect. But I'm not talking about, you know, you're white in this lifetime, but you swear to God that you were living in Zambia, you know, in another lifetime. So I'm not talking about connecting to Zambia and those ancestors. I'm talking about connecting to wherever your white ancestors were from. Because you're not just white. That's what race really hurt everybody, because it's just like, you're not just this thing. You actually have a specific culture. You have a specific practice. And I know that it's very, very hard to not know what that is and to not be able to feel like you can put a name to it. But if it also makes you feel better, we didn't have like geography and the way that all of these lines are written out and names are given to countries. That wasn't like a real thing. You just were from where you were from, whatever region, whatever culture, whatever traditions, whatever people. And most people were nomadic. You moved around a lot. It was just about what practices you had, what faith system you had, what belief system you had. And no matter how far removed you are from that, you can find that again. If you are, you're white and you've just been in Canada for a long time, you can find where your ancestors, ancient ancestors are from by talking to them, by communicating with them and trusting the traditions that they tell you, and not getting into this mindset where you feel like the traditions that they tell you are not good enough or they're not spiritual enough, okay? You have such interesting traditions, and this isn't just for white people, like this is for me too. I am... On my mom's side, I've got more knowledge because my mom's South African. We're from the Xhosa tribe, and it's nomadic, so it moves around a lot. But I know some of the traditions. We have the language still around. We have a lot of access. On my dad's side, we're Jamaican, and obviously, being in Jamaica and being Black, we have the experience of slavery. So where my ancestors come on that time, when it comes to going back, it's from a multitude of tribes, because everyone was mixed in. It wasn't like they were just like, okay, all of the Igbo tribes stay here, you know? That wasn't like a thing. It was, everyone was mixed in together. So my ancestors, when I ask them about the traditions and the cultures, they're not gonna be able to tell me, maybe they can tell me like a country that would be synonymous with the region that they were living in, or like the natural landscape, so that I could understand what kind of foods are best for my body, what kind of landscapes are best for my body. Like I know that I love greenery, rolling hills, mountains. Oh, there's a butterfly. I love butterflies. But yeah, lots of greenery, rich, lush, green environments. I love lakes. I love rivers. I'm actually not a big ocean person, though I love the ocean. But when it comes to where I would want to live on like the countryside with a lot of rolling hills and mountains that are like pure grass, things that I can just sit in and lay on all day long and find
Se tu
water.
fossi un amante, nasconderesti le sue lettere in ufficio.
Io brucio tutto.
Quindi dobbiamo sperare che la signora De Santis
Shut it! I can't even believe that you did this to me. Like, Stop. Okay. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, you like totally took me out of my element, but it's fine because I'll find my way back. I'm watching Lydia Pope. I'm really excited to keep watching it, but I had to do this first. Shit. Your environment. So yeah, for me, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna be getting a bunch of country names. Probably not even gonna be getting a bunch of tribal names, but I'll know the practices. And part of this Saturn in Pisces is also developing a deep trust. Do you trust the voice that's speaking to you? Because if you're gonna take these promptings and you're gonna follow them, then let's not be wishy-washy about it. Trust it then. You say you believe, or you say that you're willing to commit and you're gonna try. That's the other thing now. Your intention is everything. Your word is bond. Your intention is bond during Saturn and Pisces. Your intention is bond. You say you're committed to this, commit. Don't say you're committed to this and then be questioning every single thing and then being like, oh, but I just don't know. Commit. Commitment means trusting. Commitment means taking your word for it, your spirit's word for it, and going and trying. Commitment means trying. You are not committed if you're not trying. And trying does not mean that you have to succeed. What is success? Trying does not mean you have to do it perfectly. And commitment doesn't even really mean that you have to believe it the whole way. But you do have to believe to a certain extent where you're willing to ground it into your reality and risk failing. Or else you're not committed. If you weren't willing to fail, you're not committed. And this is about a testament of faith also, because that's all that spirituality is. It's just about what you believe. Because if you don't believe in anything, then nothing's real. But that's a belief within itself. That's why everything is spiritual. Everything is just a belief. The entire thing. You believe in the words that you're speaking. That's why you're speaking them. You believe in language. You believe in being able to hear. That's why you're hearing. You believe in all of these things. And some beliefs are so strong that they have become cement. And I don't just mean with shadow work and things like that. I mean real world shit. You believe in this world and it is real now because you believe in it. Yes, you're here and it's real, but it's because you believe. Because your soul is yeah, I believe this shit. So it's real. But you can't really kill your belief of this world. You can get out of this world. You can leave, but our belief in this existence is so strong now as souls, as a collective, that there is no disintegrating it. It's not a weak belief, whether you want to admit it or not, no matter what you think about your spirit or your spirituality, whether you think you even have any, or whether you think you don't have any beliefs, you think you're a nihilist, whatever, you have beliefs. Because how is any of this happening right now? I don't know. Whether you believe in the Big Bang or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. Evolution, revolution, I don't know. It doesn't matter, but you believe in something. And Saturn is coming in and it's okay, you guys asked for this collective waking up process. You asked for change, monumental change. So many of us are trying to manifest change that is kind of unfathomable. And it's about believing. And that is good. Do not change that. Do not feel weird about that. But with that comes incredibly, incredibly deep and soul revolutionizing work to test your belief in yourself. If you believe in yourself, everything else will fall in.